Well, this is, again, in the morning. It's a beautiful morning. Now I'm in the shade heading into the sun. A little different than the last video. And I'll be talking about perception. The way we perceive things, the power of that, is what can have the initial effect on the emotions. So all of these things in this power lessons tie together one way or another. And you can look at them in a forward direction, emotion and then perception, but you can also look at perception triggering emotion. So getting in tune with this is very important to be able to set and trust the golf swing. So one of the things about perception is you have references. Sometimes you don't even know those references are affecting you. On this particular hole, we're hitting with the green half in shadow, now half in sun, and we have a large tree right behind the green. That dwarfs the size of the pin. But many times the height of that tree can be very deceiving in deceiving you thinking that or feeling that the distance down there is either closer or further away. So how you perceive it and how you put it into context with the perception of the rest of the environment is very, very critical. So we must perceive correctly. We must perceive, as we swing the golf club, a perception of what's going to be let happen in our golf swing. Smooth, gentle perception of that, and feeling. Feeling is also part of perception. So it's not just seeing, it's activating all the senses. The sense of touch, that's feel. The sense of sight, all of those things that drive into an intellectual acceptance of what we are going to experience emotionally and physically. That's what I'll be demonstrating and talking about through this video today. So look down here. Because the pin is in shadow, it's a little difficult to actually sense how far deep that is on the green. From experience playing it, past experience, I sort of know about where it is, and I've chosen the proper club for that. This green tips left to right, so everything has to go in on a line which is almost in line with the trunk of that tree. So sometimes it's a good idea to use a reference within the framework of your mind to accept the feeling of the flow of the swing. Let's give it a try, see what happens. Pulled slightly to the left there. May or may not have hit the green. I'll hit another shot, responding perceptually to that experience. Remember, what I'm doing here in these videos is giving you a good hint of how you can go out if you're not holding anybody up in practice. Don't just accept one shot. You're always on the golf course to learn how to play golf. If you put too much pressure on yourself of having to be right all the time, you'll never really learn how to let yourself be right. So I'm always happy when I'm doing one of these videos to hit several shots to give you an idea how I set my mind. All right, I'm going to try to set my mind now to accept the extension through the ball a little bit better and avoid that little pull. That looks pretty good. If I get the right bounce, looks good. Okay, I'll hit one more just so you can see that replayed and how I'm thinking, but I'll probably be playing that ball. So again, I'm trying to accept that club going through the face of the club going down toward the hole. Sometimes your perception can really deceive you, because after hitting that shot, I have some grass on my club face. So always pay attention. Don't get so wrapped up in making the shot that you're not paying attention to something as simple as the face of your club. If you're playing in the morning like this, it's really good because the grass is wet. You can take the club and run it through the grass and it'll come up nice and clean. Okay, I shouldn't be doing this on my pants. My wife will kill me, but my fingers were a little bit wet. I didn't want that feeling, perception again, so I didn't bother going over to get the towel, and I'll just make sure I have that pretty clean when I go home. Okay, let's go down and see the result of some of those and see what kind of examples I can use for perception when we get down there. My shot off the tee came up on the front side of the green, and if you'll notice, that's the side of the green with the sun. So the probabilities, my perception keyed in on the brighter part of the green. So my sensibility shifted over because of that perception, and I felt my swing to the front edge of the green. When I do an analysis on that, it makes a lot of sense. So I was deceived by the perception of the depth of the green and the dark part of the green and the light part of the green. My mind, my emotions were carried over into this perception idea, and emotionally I was engaging more in the brighter side of the green. Now I have a significantly long putt with a very, very large break left to right. I have to sense that break about how the green tips from left to right. I don't get into the little nuances of what happens within that run. I just have to feel the distance, let the swing happen, line myself up, and trust the ball to roll. So we'll see. We'll hit one or two here and see what my reaction is, because I'm putting now perceptually from the sun into the shade. Another very difficult thing in perception, to be able to understand how to feel that difference. So we'll set up, give it a stroke, and see what happens. And that felt pretty good. If the distance is right, it should be a pretty good putt. All right, not bad at all. Probably a couple of feet from the hole. We'll try another one. So it has quite a break. So the experience on the golf course, when you allow yourself to have the experience on the golf course of hitting more than one ball, what you're doing is you're training your perceptual response to the experience you had. And what it's doing is taking your intuition, your intuitive sensibility that we talk about, to a higher level. So we're training the intuition to feel rather than the mind to try to know. It's problematic when you do things too intellectually. So we'll make another stroke here. I felt very, very good about the direction. Now let's see what happens in the distance. Felt like a stronger strike, so it should be closer to the hole, a little bit closer. Again, a little bit more stroke on that, and it probably would have been in the hole. Well, just for the fun of it, we'll try a third one. And about the same position. So that wasn't too bad for having this difficulty of perception with this sun going into shade. I'll go down there and hit the tap in because I want to talk about emotions when it comes to short putts. They're easy to miss. All right, the putt came up a little bit short and a little bit left, but it was right on line. If it had been a little firmer, it probably would have been in the hole. Now I have what is sometimes referred to as a tap-in. Don't let your perception make any assumptions here. If you watch any golf on TV, you've seen the best people in the world miss putts like this. Don't take it for granted. I see an awful lot of people rushing this putt because they just want to get out of the way of the people behind them, or they're in a hurry, hoping the ball will go in the hole. You have to allow the perception, even in a short putt like this, sink in so you can let that putter flow through. So I may make this first one, but even if I don't, I'll probably hit another one to show you how I can overcompensate in perception on this. So we'll square up the blade, take my time, set my body, and most importantly, set my emotional acceptance of a smooth stroke. And most of the time you'll make the putt. But many times if you're in a hurry, you will start to disregard that perception and bringing yourself into alignment with the emotional response of the flow of the stroke. You'll start to look too much at the hole, and your emotions will take over, and emotionally you want to roll it in the hole. Once you set, you have to forget about the hole. Just trust the stroke. So almost deliberately this time, I'm going to push one to the right of the hole. Well, it just went in on the edge, unfortunately. Guess I just can't keep the ball out of the hole today. I want to try one more so I can show you how a fast or slow stroke trying to push the ball into the hole will let it go by. There's the example. You could have more than a 1-footer coming back. So even from this distance, you could end up 3-putting. So if you made 1 putt up here and 3 more putts and had a 4 on the hole, you would not exactly be well emotionally ready for the next hole. That's going to affect, it's going to carry over into the next hole, and you'll probably emotionally go into the next hole disappointed, frustrated, anxious, and trying to make up the mistake you made. You can't do that. You have to dismiss it, whatever happens, and emotionally set yourself up for your next shot. It's only in the moment of the shot that matters, not what happened before or after. You just allow things to happen, and you'll have a wonderful time playing golf, living from the heart of the game. Thanks for attending this video session, and we'll see you next time.